go back to the question. So that's what we're going to do, and I'm not even sharing my desktop. Okay, so everybody can hear, and we're sharing the desktop, and let's begin. So we've got here a full presentation. We're not going to look at it now, but we have a full presentation on using the demerits. And let's begin. So before even a library can begin using demerits, it needs to be defined on a system level, and that's done at the time of implementation or later during support time. That's also happened, but a library at a later stage decides that they want to use the demerits. So one of the questions actually is, someone wants to know if they can use demerits, and we want to tell them how. Here someone asks, we were told that if we use demerits system or not depends on what was set up at the time of implementation. How do I know if our library was set up to use the demerit system? So, under the fulfillment configuration menu, where I am now, in the general section, we have a subsection called other settings. Okay, I'm going to mute people now because I hear some noise, or you can just be quiet, whatever you prefer. I don't want to sound like a third grade teacher, but if you continue talking and banging on your keyboard, I'll have no choice but to mute you. Okay. And you'll stay in for recess. Anyway, so now if a library is going to be using demerits, then the demerit enable here will be defined as true. That's the first thing. Without that, none of it's going to work. Okay. There are 4 parameters here related to demerits. I see 3 people just popped in now. Maybe my clock is fast, but in any case, we're here in the fulfillment configuration menu, general, other settings, for those of you who just joined. We have 4 parameters which are related to the demerits. The first one, demerit enable. Without that, the demerits won't work at all. That has to be defined as true. Then we have 3 other parameters here: demerit history days, demerit maximum threshold, and demerit suspension days. One of the questions was, what is the difference between the demerit history days and demerit suspension days? We're going to get to that soon. We're going to do a live example here too, so it'll all become clear. Demerit history days is the amount of time the system is looking backwards in order to find, should this guy be blocked? In other words, in our case, we're going to say if someone has 2 overdue returns, then they're blocked. However, we can say how far back are we looking? Is that for the last year, or for the past week, or for the past, in this case, 10 days? So it's how far back is the system checking for an activity which contributes to a demerit. Okay, demerit maximum thresholds. Here we've defined 9. The maximum threshold is how many demerit points can he have and still not be blocked. The maximum amount he can have without getting blocked in the demerits. I see people are still joining. We have quite a crowd already. Okay, the 4th parameter here, demerit suspension days, is how long will he be demerited, or how long will he be blocked because of his demerits. There's a nightly job which runs and basically says if his demerit has existed X days and the demerit suspension days equals X, then I'm going to delete it. In other words, here it's 2. That means the first time the job runs, it'll see it's 1 day old, it won't delete it. The next time it runs, it's 2 days old, it will delete it. Okay, and we're going to do that as an example too. So that's the beginning. Next, we have in the configuration menu, fulfillment configuration menu, a demerits section. So here we're going back to the fulfillment configuration menu and to the demerits section. Right here, user demerits. So in the user demerits, we can say here if demerits are going to be applied for per user group or per item. There's one question we're going to get to soon where the asker, is that the correct English? The asker, the inquirer, the person who sent it, he says, can we use demerits only for our CD-ROM collection? So we're going to get to that question. Here we can say by user group or by material type. Now here we've said if the user group is alumni for any material type, on an overdue he gets 5 points, and for a recall overdue he gets 5 points. So let's see for a moment how this is relating to our previous parameter. Here he gets 5 points for every overdue. I'm going to go back now to the other settings. Here we said if he has 10 points, if he has 9 points, he's still not blocked. Once he gets to 10, he's blocked. So if each overdue is 5 points, if he has 2 overdues, he gets 10 points, he's blocked because his maximum is 9. And we're going to do an example like that. Okay, so that is the demerits right here. That was the user demerits. And then we have the user block definitions. So here, again, fulfillment configuration menu, user block definitions, we have a type which is called demerit. When we're adding the block, we have a type demerit. And here we've said the demerits block of type demerit, the ID here can be called whatever you want, as long as it's the same in another place, which we'll get to. It's overridable by everyone. The blocked action is 0, 1. The blocked actions will be 1, 2, 3. We added 4. Typically 1 is for loan, 2 is for loan and renew, 3 is for loan, renew, and hold. That's a whole other story about the blocks. Maybe we should have an Ask the Expert session about blocks. I'm going to make a little note here. We'll see if there's any interest in that. Okay. Next. So here we're saying demerit overridable with blocked action 1. Now we're going to go to another table. Now this is a table which is set up during implementation also, called block to blocked actions. And here we're saying, here it is, if it's 1, the block is loan. If it's 2, it's loan and renew. If it's 3, it's loan, renew, and hold. So that means when he gets the demerit, he'll be blocked on loaning. And we can say if he gets a demerit, he can't loan or renew, he can't loan, renew, or hold. And the fourth one is for booking, right? Yeah. Okay. So let's actually do our example now. In order to, let's just see if there's any questions right now, and if everyone still hears before we actually do our live example. The live example will make this much clearer. Then we'll go to our questions and everything will come together. I'm looking now at the participant list. Can you raise your hand if you still hear us okay? I see we've got some people who joined us since our last sound check. Okay, people hear us, and that also means they're awake. Although it's late afternoon, I believe, for you. Although some people get a little more tired in the late afternoon than in the early mornings. So here we go. Now, in order to make this more efficient as far as checking overdues, we have a item status called a 1-minute loan. Then we only have to wait 61 seconds until it's overdue, and then we can easily check our rules as far as overdues, etc. So this one here, something in, I'm not sure what language that is. I think that's Flemish, Belgium, yeah, probably Flemish. In any case, so let's get a 1-minute loan, this item here. And we're going to loan this one. And then we have another item as well with a much longer barcode. I just wanted to make things interesting and prone to error. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 0, boom. Okay. And this one also is a 1-minute loan. And we're going to loan these to Marcia Brady. And the reason we're choosing Marcia Brady, Marcia. Come on, Ajax. There we go. Oof, my fault. I was impatient. There we go. Marcia Brady. The reason we're using Marcia Brady, she's already got a demerit. We're going to delete her demerit now. The reason we're using Marcia is because, as we can see here, she is alumni. And we said earlier in the fulfillment configuration menu, user demerits, that we're working right now only for alumni. Only one user group we're doing now the demerits. You can do the demerits and the fines, by the way. They're not mutually exclusive. And we have a question about that one also. So let's first of all get Marcia and delete her current demerits so that we're starting fresh and new. Okay, so actions, edit, we're going to show this in a moment, but right now she's got a demerit here. First of all, let me delete this block. And what did I do here? Actions, I want to do delete, I hit edit, sorry about that. Okay, now, look at all. Marcia B. And then we're going to wait 61 seconds. We'll find something interesting to talk about for 61 seconds. 6916-10. Okay, that's due at 7:15 and it's 7:14. And 10695- boom. Item I found, give me a break. Okay, 10, he was right, yep, 6950. Like we said before, there are no Alma errors, it's always a human error. 123410. Occasionally we think there's a bug or something not working properly, and then we discover it was just a human error. Okay, so these two are due at 7:15. We can either sit and twiddle our thumbs until it'll be 7:16, or what's going to happen now, we'll explain, this will be overdue at 7:16. The demerit is not going to kick in until she returns them. It's the same with the fines, by the way. We can see that it's overdue. We can see that there's going to be an accrued fine, but the actual fine and the actual demerit is not registered on the user until the time it's actually returned, which is logical because you don't know how overdue it's going to be. But we've got the accrued, the gradually increasing fines and demerits. Okay, let's see if it's 7:16 yet by server time. Switch this to all. Okay, great. Look at that. How efficient. So they're both overdue now. We know they're overdue because they already got a fine. I have this nice fulfillment unit rule here that every minute it's overdue, they get a $1 US fine. So I can easily all the time check my rules for overdues, blocks, fines, and all that stuff without needing to wait 3 days for an overdue. Okay, now watch what's going to happen. Before we return, let's just take a brief look at her. She right now has no blocks. In her demerits tab, she has only ones for 324 and 325, March 24th and March 25th. Okay, so now watch what we're going to do here. We're going to return this, return items, and 10695- oh no, 106.950-1234010. Okay, so that was returned with an accrued fine of $2. It was 2 minutes overdue. And 6916-10 is also returned, and it's $3 overdue. Wow. Just between the first one and the second one, it must have been at the 59-second and the 01 of the next minute. Okay, let's watch what's going to happen now. Let's say I want to loan something to Marcia Brady. And I come along very innocently enough, and I do manage patron services, and I retrieve Marcia. Beautiful, look at that. Now she's blocked. Why is she blocked? Too many demerits. And we can even see here which barcodes caused the demerits. One of the questions, now we can come back to our questions. Okay, this is a question here. We have been considering for some time to begin using the demerits. Our only concern is that if a patron is blocked, how will we be able to tell what caused his block? There will not be fines for the late items, so how will we know what caused the demerit? Okay, so one way is in the actual message. There's another way too, we'll see. And then we can still override. The reason we can override is, if you recall, in my user block definitions, I had override by all. I'm going to cancel this. And now, if we go into the patron record, find and manage users, to Brady. I think I've got Cindy Brady here and Marcia Brady. Okay, let's take Marcia. Okay, and here's the block. So we can also see here the barcodes which caused it. Here's her demerit, created now 3/26, that's today, at 7:17 a.m., just now. Actions edit, and we can see here. So the block description is patron has too many demerits. The note is what was causing the demerit. And we saw that I could override it. When we go back here to the Fulfillment Configuration menu, User Block Definitions, here's my description, patron has too many demerits, and that's what we see here when we try to loan to her. Patron has too many demerits. We see that we can override. And we also saw here in the Fulfillment Configuration menu, User Block Definitions, that it's overridable by all. We see that she can't loan. We saw that the 01 is blocking the loan. We saw that earlier in the mapping table, block-to-blocked actions. So that's why she can't loan. Okay. Are there any questions or comments until now? We're going to continue with the flow, which is going to bring us to answering more of these questions. But let's stop for a moment and see if there's any questions or comments. You can either send in a chat, raise your hand, or just start talking. I'll wait a moment. Okay, there's no questions or comments. Oh, there is a question. Great. Chat. Oh, okay. Someone just said I can hear you well. All right. Just give me a quick hand raise. Make sure there's no questions because everything's clear and not because you can't hear. Bronwyn, Matthew, Peter, Shirley, UNSW, Carmel, everybody here all right? Okay, the hands are going up. Fantastic. Okay, so let's go on. Now, we said that nightly there's a job that runs. So if I come here to monitor jobs, I can see which jobs are running on the system. And I'm going to go to scheduled and to fulfillment. And we have a job here called users remove demerit blocks. I'm going to run it just so we can watch what's happening. Now this isn't something you need to run manually. You can't even run it manually. I have special permissions. And that's a real quick job. And it's done already. Now, it's going to tell me here, user demerit block 0. Nothing was deleted. And if we go look at Marcia, we see here that she still has her block. Now, why does she still have her block? Let's see, and who wants to tell us, why does Marcia still have her block, even though I ran the job to delete user blocks? You can either call it, okay, we got a the amount of days that you showed in the other settings was 2. That's right, that's exactly it. It hasn't been 2 days, she wrote. Fantastic, Shirley. All right, someone else says she also has fines. Okay, we're keeping anonymous who sent it in, so it's okay if we say politely no. No, it doesn't have anything to do with the fines, but it does have to do with it hasn't been 2 days. We have a parameter in here in the other settings which says demerit suspension days. So the demerit suspension days is set to 2. That means the demerit needs to exist really 3 days, because I once tested it. In order now for it to be deleted, if I put 1, it still won't be deleted. I have to put 0, because it's the day it was created plus the days that are here. But that's another philosophical thing. What is 2 days? In any case, I'm going to change this to 0, just for the demonstrative purposes, and save it. Okay. Now let's run that job again. And we run it. Let's filter by fulfillment so we can find it easily. Here's the job. Actions run now. Go to our completed tab. It's already, wow, that's a quick, efficient system. Report. Now it says it deleted 1. We'll click here for a nice organized report. And we see that Marcia B613, that's her identifier. And her block was deleted, and the list of barcodes which close the block are these. Okay. Now, one other thing before we get to the questions is we had 2 overdue items, and she was blocked. Just a little math here. Let's just write down here, oh, that's a different interesting notepad about holding, textual holdings. We'll save that for another day. So we're going to say she had 2 overdue items and was blocked. How did that happen? When we looked at our demerits, fulfillment configuration menu, demerits, we said here that each overdue is 5. So that means 2 overdue items and she was blocked. We have 5 plus 5 on each overdue equals 10. Then we said, fulfillment configuration menu here, other settings. We said that the demerit maximum threshold is 9. I'm going to change this now to 11. I'll put this back to 2 so I don't forget in this afternoon session. this was 2, right? Okay, I'm going to save it. And this is 11, save. So now we've changed the demerit maximum threshold. Demerit maximum threshold. Now it equals 11. So now we'll do a quick loan here. Did I ever return these? Oh, right, I had to have returned them, otherwise they wouldn't have been overdue. That's right, B-R-A-D-Y, Brady. Let's take Marcia, Marcia's alumni, and scan these barcodes in, 106950-1233410, okay. And 6916-10, enter. Okay, these will be overdue in a moment, and we'll see if she gets blocked. Meanwhile, let's make a third item. Also a 1-minute loan. Let's see what we've got here for Australia. There's got to be something in here with Australia. Open Australia, innovating Australia. Let's take this one, Open Australia, and I'm going to go into, well, that's another nice long barcode, make it prone to error, 107289-4 zeros and a 10. We're going to take this one, and while we're waiting, make this also a 1-minute loan, save. Okay, all done. Let's see if Marcia now already has overdue items. All. Okay, one of them is overdue already. That means the other one in a moment will be overdue. Okay, they're both overdue. We're going to return these. Last time we returned 2 overdue items, and she was blocked. 6916-10. And, okay, that one's got the fine. 106950-1233410. Now, if we try to loan her something, Marcia, okay, she's not blocked. She's not blocked now because we made our maximum threshold be 11. Each overdue got 5 points. She's got a total of 10 points right now. And she's allowed 11. So now once this one at 7:31, once this one will be overdue, if everything's working properly here, which we have no doubt it is, then she will be blocked. Again, that's because we made the change here in the other settings from 9 to 11. When it was 9, each overdue was 5 points. When she got to 10, she was blocked. Now it's 11. She wasn't blocked when she had 2 overdue. She will be blocked when she has 3 overdue because that's 15 and the limit is 11. Let's retrieve her now. There she is. Let's see what kind of overdues she's got. Okay, this one here is already overdue, so we're going to return it. Now she should have 15 points. Okay, we tried to loan her. M-A-R-S-H-A-B, M-A-R-S-H-A-B. Fantastic. Now she's blocked only when she gets 3. Okay, that covers the demo part, which was done so we can answer these questions. Let's now go through the questions. Okay, one by one. Can demerits and fines be used together? we have been considering for some time now to begin using, however, we also want to continue using fines, at least for some of our patron groups. So yes, they can be used together. We can see here that Marcia Brady has fines and demerits. She owes $25 now. All of these that we've been playing with today were $1 minute every $1 every minute. She has $25. We could theoretically give her blocks also on that. If I go here to patron limits and I look at the alumni, I gave maximum cash really big because I didn't want them to be blocked on that. But if I say 9 here, now she's double blocked. Interesting. Double blocked. It's like speeding without your lights on at night. She got 2 fines in one. Let's see what's going to happen now. This is going to be interesting. Is it going to give me both messages or just one? And if it's going to give me one, which one? Let's see. Fantastic. What a system. So can you use both of them? You've got your answer right here. She's blocked in both of them. That is fantastic. All right. Let me just go put that back so we can impress the afternoon people like the morning people and show them how we can add another limitation. Where was that patron limit? So I'm going to put this back to a bunch of 9s. So Marcia can keep loaning and we'll only see the problem of the demerits and not the fines. Next. Okay, we were told that if we use demerits, okay, we already answered this one. We were told that if we use the demerit system, it depends on what was set up at the time of implementation. And we saw that already in the other settings of the general. We have demerit enable equals true. That means we're using it. Next. The guide states, yeah, this is an interesting question. The guide states, demerit history days specify the length of the demerit tracking period in days. Demerit suspension days specify the length of a user's suspension in period in days. Can you explain more in depth the difference and relationship between the two? Okay, now, we already discussed that, and it became more clear now when we ran the job. The demerit suspension days is how long is the demerit going to last in the system for the patron. We saw that we run the job every night, and it only deletes the demerit if that demerit has existed for this number of days. When we changed it to 0, it was deleted. When it was 2, it wasn't deleted. Demerit history days, excuse me, just took a sip of my coffee. Demerit history days is how far back is the system looking. In other words, we said about Marcia Brady, she's allowed 2 overdues. But does that mean 2 overdues the whole year, the past 2 weeks, the past 10 days? So here it's looking only in the past 10 days. So that's the difference between the demerit history days and the demerit suspension days. Okay, next. Can we use the demerits but only for our CD-ROM collection? So we saw also that that's possible. When we come here into the fulfillment configuration menu and we went to the user demerits, we see that we can filter this by user group and by material type. So you could theoretically choose only CD-ROM, only DVDs. You can even do it only for your ephemera. You can do it, we got all kinds of neat stuff here. You can do it only for your letters, for your laser discs, or for your microfiche. Anyone who has overdue microfiche gets a demerit. Okay, now, where were we? Okay, we have been, okay, this one we also saw how we'll be able to tell what caused his block. We see this in the patron card. We still call it the patron card. We don't call it the cataloging card in the metadata editor, but we still call it the patron card in for the fulfillment. So anyway, we saw in the patron card, where were we here? Marcia Brady. Actions, edit. Inside the block, we have a note. Every time the block is made, we have a note saying which item. So if she comes and says, I shouldn't be blocked, I didn't return them late, how come I have a demerit? Well, you can tell her exactly which items she returned late and what the story is on them, and then you can look for them and see what happens. Let's just, for the fun of it, go into one of these. We'll take the middle one. And we're going to go into the item and into the history and into the fulfillment activities. Perfect. You can go in just like this and say, look, Marcia, 7:29 a.m. on March 26th, you returned that late. You loaned it at 7:28. You returned it at 7:29. It's a 1-minute loan. You were late. So you've got everything here. Okay, next. Okay, that's the end. Are there any questions or comments here? Pretty quiet crowd today compared to previous sessions. Everybody still here okay? Can you give a quick hand raise just to make sure our communication is still all right? Okay, everybody's got their hands up. Okay, so if there's no questions or comments, I guess we can end here. No final comments, anybody? Let me check the